Hello there, guys. It's me, Brian Cockerill, aka the Taxman. We've got the fantastic Ben Spann on today. We're going to ask Ben to tell you what he's about. Ben, thanks for coming on the show.
Cheers, buddy.
Okay, go on, mate. Get it away.
So basically, we set up a campaign called Change Your Life, Put Down Your Knife, probably about 6 months ago. In the 6 months, it's gone from, we've done the foundation work 6 months ago. And we made it live 10 weeks ago. In 10 weeks, we've got over 6,000 members.
It's amazing.
We've got a wicked admin team involved in it. Brian and Emma themselves are involved.
It's a pleasure. Yep.
Terry Ellis, Darren Baden, Vinnie Bradish, Hannah Brennan, and also Tony Turner.
Which are all fantastic people and good friends.
Yeah,
Thank you to all you guys out there helping us.
Everyone brings their own aspect to it, so we've all got our own individual qualities that we all bring to it, which has probably made it as successful as it is, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So I started doing the campaign because of personal reasons. I through life experiences as well. I've got a 14-year-old son who was who's just grown up to inspire to be like the wrong people, basically.
Yeah.
So he was a big driving force behind it, and I had a big breakdown about 6 months ago, where I was basically ready just to give up on everything.
Yeah.
So I ended up. I went to Ireland to my little brother's Chris's house. Took myself out of the situation I was in.
Yeah.
Change of scenery was the
You
main
take yourself
thing.
away from that equation, don't you?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get it's like a release of life, isn't it, type thing?
As soon as I landed in Ireland, when I was at the airport, it's like I took my son with me, Jacob.
Yeah.
It was like Jacob was the parent. I was having like panic attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he took control. He got me through passport control and
Yeah.
all the rest of it. So he was like the parent, and I felt like the child at the time. It
Yeah.
was quite
Well, that's good, isn't it? Because obviously it gives them an experience. It makes them realise how bad you were. Obviously, now we're speaking to you today, total different Ben, aren't you?
Yeah, no,
what you were then. Yeah.
So we went over to Ireland. As soon as I landed, I just had a big sigh of relief. Felt like a massive pressure was off my shoulders.
Yeah.
And I just slotted into his routine of life, basically. So just tagging along with what he would normally do. So yeah, I was over there for I think 10 days, 9 days, something like that. But it was a massive. It was what I needed, basically, to come back. I was still getting minor panic attacks when I came back, but nothing like before. Before I'd lock myself in the house. I wouldn't answer my mobile phone to anyone. My phone would be off constantly. Even someone knocking at the door. I've got a good mate of mine, Wiggy, and he was probably one of the only people that sort of knew what was going on to a certain degree, because I hid it quite well.
Yeah.
And Wiggy would come and bang on the door, stick his head through the letterbox. Ben, open the door! He'd be shouting through there, and he'd know what I was doing, sort of hiding away, you know. So he used to. He'd be putting his head through the window, whatever, any way to get my attention, to get me to open the door, basically.
It's the prime thing of having a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
People think, I'm not telling anyone because you feel embarrassed, don't you?
Yeah.
Everything. It's great for you to speak out, because people out there are suffering from depression. That's it. And there's no shame in having depression. It's just an illness. You've got to go and get help. You can't sit in the house depressed and not answering the door. And my brother suffers from it, you see, so the same thing. I've had to kick his door in. I've had to have him sectioned a few times.
Yeah.
And he's got better, because obviously you need help. You can't just keep sitting in your house and not getting out of bed, and not getting a shave, and not getting a wash, and you just spiral more and more.
Well, the wake-up call for me was I used to occasionally, I'd venture out to another mate of mine, Chunk's house, and I'd be sat in there with him and his missus, and that just felt like a bit of normality. You know, when I was sat there, it made me feel a little bit more normal. And one day I was just sat there and I just burst out into tears.
Yeah.
And that's the
tears of joy sometimes as well.
I don't think it was tears of joy. It was just uncontrollable. I couldn't control it.
Like a volcano.
Yeah, it just happened, and I was sat there and I was like, "Shit, I'm so sorry." And they were like, "Well, there must be a reason behind this," and that was the turning point for me. So they said, "Look, you need to go back and speak to Louise." That's my wife. She knew that something was going on, but she couldn't put her finger on it. So that night I went home and done exactly the same thing, burst out into tears to her and just explained how I was feeling.
Yeah.
I was thinking of killing myself on a daily basis, different ways of how to do it. I was even struggling to go to sleep because I would have envisioned myself smothering her with the pillow, you know, just mad shit shit like that.
Yeah.
But then I scared myself to go to sleep
Yeah.
because I was thinking to myself, shit, what happens if I wake up and I have actually done that?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it was really mad. It was a real
Bad time,
real bad time.
Well, what it is, I think the most thing about fear itself, the most frightening thing about fear is fear itself, because you can think, someone said 97% of what you think, what's going to happen doesn't happen, only 3%. So I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's called ruminizing. And you sit in the room, what if I do that? What if I do this? It just keeps going. It's like it's a never-ending circle going round and round.
Especially when you just sat at home as well, like I was doing. I was just festering away at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd spend days, I'd lose days just sat at home,
That's right.
basically.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't even know what the time was. I'd fall asleep, wake up, just sit there watching TV. I wouldn't really eat. It's too much hassle just to get up to eat. So
I thought I'd just go and make something to eat and go to the toilet and get the wash. It's like, I can't be bothered.
Too much hassle sort of thing. So.
It.
But when I had a breakdown to my missus, that was a massive relief to her because she knew that something was going on. But
you're a bit embarrassed to tell her.
I was, but prior to that.
Yeah.
But when I had this, when I was just burst out into tears to my mates, I thought this is like a turning point. You know what I mean? I have to do something about this now. So she spent a couple of days off work with me because I think it was a big relief for her because she thought all things were going on. She didn't know, she couldn't put her finger on what was happening, and that was a big relief for her to know that I'd actually confined in her. So she spent a few days off work, and we contacted the doctors, and the doctors said to me that they were like, well, what we can do is give you some tablets, and that to me, I said to her, look, I don't want tablets at the end of the day. I'm not really, I don't take paracetamol unless I'm on really, really ill,
Yeah.
And so she said to me, well, we can get you counselling and I can give you someone to speak to, but it's going to take X amount of weeks. So that's when we decided then that we were going to go to Ireland. I was just going to take myself out of that whole scenario. So, and came back, and the results of that was basically this campaign. So.
I think when you've got something like that, you've got to be surrounded with somebody like your brother, like I was with my brother.
Yeah.
I helped him. I've had depression myself. I've been in the same situation as you. And you sit there and you think you're never going to get out this hole, but there's help, isn't there? You've got the only thing with depression, anything else, alcoholism, drugs, whatever. You have to want to stop, and you have to want to help yourself. You can only meet somebody halfway.
Yeah.
If you ask somebody to help you, you've got to meet them halfway, or you can't be helped. So, I think when you're taking drugs and things like that, and you get depression, like I did, you're in that cauldron, you can't get out, and you're just like looking through the window. But when you're looking out the window, you think, no, I'll have a bit more, I'll do this, and you just get more and more depressed, don't you? It just goes on and on.
I think that was the point for me when I burst out into tears. I just knew that was the time when I needed to get help, basically, because. I mean, if I hadn't have done, then Christ knows what would have happened. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like I took my lad to Ireland with me because I knew that if he was with me, I wasn't going to do anything stupid. You know,
which is good. Yeah.
But on the back,
that's what I'm saying. You've got to have that trust. You've got maybe family members are the best people to help you, and or very, very close friends. You know?
Yeah, that's. I mean,
you go to somewhere like to a doctor's, they don't really give you a prescription, you're gone, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. You're just another statistic to them.
Yeah,
but I mean, I had some close people around me. I mean, like I mentioned, Wiggy, Chunk, and his missus, my missus.
So your mates got proper names.
Yes. they were.
See, that's better than laughing. That's one of the best things in the world to stop you having depression. Laugh.
Yeah, that's
great. It's great.
I mean, this campaign is like a therapeutic thing because you're helping people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more rewarding than helping people, you know, and that's more rewarding than taking any drug, in my opinion. Yeah. It's like an addiction, you know. You want to keep doing it and doing it. So. On the back of that, one of the reasons I came up with this knife campaign was because there was a lad called Kieran. He was only a young lad, same age as my stepson Callum, and he was the kid that turned up to football with boots that were too small for him, or turned up to football as and when his mum could give him the money for it. Yeah. So I bumped into him a couple of years, well, probably about 5 years ago. He started working for me doing some labouring. Then we lost touch. And we bumped back into each other in a pub one day, and I said to him, how's things? And he'd been stabbed 3 times, so he was suffering with PTSD from that, having nightmares and stuff. Yeah. On top of that, he was due to go to jail. So I said to him, look, come and start doing some work back with me. So he started working for me, and I helped him through this jail. He'd been sentenced, he'd been to the Crown Court, they'd sentenced him, but he was due to be go through his sentencing. And that was the stage it was that. So basically, me and my missus, we wrote him some references, one from work.
So we went for probation officer reports, won't he? That's what
Yeah,
he
so
did.
he went through his sentencing in the Crown Court, and we had 2 character reference. One from my missus, who's a manager of a care home, so she's quite got like a
good background.
Yeah. Then there was mine, and then one from the business, and we also got one done from his girlfriend who he had a kid with as well.
Right.
So I went to court with him on the day and spoke to his barrister. I gave him this paperwork, and said, look, this is basically the angle that we want to go down. So his barrister, he was going there with the intention of just allowing him to get sent down. He wasn't going to do, he had no fight left in him for it. So we gave him this paperwork, and he read it out to the judge, and they cancelled his sentence. He had to do 3 months of sticking to these rules. He had to go back then 3 months later to prove that he'd stuck to these 3 rules.
Stipulations.
And he did, and he got away with it all basically. What he'd done was punched a military police officer and broke his jaw, an off-duty one, in the local kebab
But
shop.
if you hadn't been, if you'd have still been in the house, he'd have been in jail. Scenario. So it's like the catalyst. Once you start doing something, it's like snowballs, isn't it? I went to with a friend the other day to get a tyre, and I got it, and we did the very first thing during the anti-knife campaign.
10 question
I think
podcast.
we talked to the bloke. It was £86 for a tyre. Went to pay him the money. He said, "No, your money's no good." I said, "What's happened there?" He said, "Well, you saved that thing you did with Ben Spann. It saved my son's life in a way." He said, because he stabbed someone. And now he's watched your videos, he's changed his life completely. So he said, "There, the tyres, I'll put the tyre on for nothing."
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So it just shows that this anti-knife campaign is working. Just hear stories like that, it's fantastic, isn't it? So,
it's really.
you've saved a young kid.
This is what I mean. You can't get any. There's nothing but more rewarding than hearing stories like that at the end of the day, and it's something that we're hearing more and more, especially with the more the groups getting, the more the groups picking up momentum, which it is on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And we've got some wicked ideas on board as well. We're all doing a sponsored half marathon, aren't we? So Emma's going to be cycling. I'm cycling.
The only marathon I'm doing is the chocolate bar. I'm going to eat one. But no, kidding aside, it's good, isn't it? Johnny Turner, I think he's going to give me a lift on his back.
Yes.
So they're all jumping in there, and everyone's on board with it. I mean, we've been up there with Stephen Sayers and Stephen Wraith. We did a talking thing there, and we spoke about the anti-knife there. Everywhere we go,
sporting the logos on the top.
And we've got the campaign and everything. So it's really, really good, because we can't do this ourselves. We can't, like Tony Turner and Terry Ellis and all them and the other people are involved. We can't do it on our own. We need you guys back home. We need everybody to get on board with this, because it's an epidemic. It's just as bad as the COVID virus. It's out there. It is an epidemic. There's kids getting killed every day of the week where we live. It's only a small place in Teesside where we live, and the thing is with it, obviously a lot of people have been touched by it. So if you can help, you need your help, because you want to speak up for us. Yeah. Even
if it's just as simple as liking the group, following what we do. It doesn't cost a penny. It's free just to click the like button, but it builds a platform up for us. And on top of that as well, we need the voice of the people basically. So we can only do so much. We can only do so much. But we're on social media. So on the Facebook page, it's Change Your Life, Put Down Your Knife, and just click the join button basically, or the follow button. So. That'd be a good start, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's been fantastic doing these things with Ben and other people. But there's also, I'm doing Tip of the Day, as you know now, on YouTube, my YouTube channel. So there's going to be one of them every day for mental health, all different types of illnesses and things. But Ben's fantastic what he's doing. And what does your son think of it? He's getting involved as well. At first he was a bit unsure, but I took him to go and meet Chris Lambriano the other week. Last fantastic week. Man, isn't he? Chris, he's a top legend, legend. Yeah, he's a brilliant guy. So we took him over there to see him, and he had a few books signed with him and a photo done. And we took him on the campaign bus tour around London as well. And every time I turned around, I never was too far away from him, but because I was busy helping sort of the bits and bobs out, I wasn't able to spend all my time with him constantly. But every time I turned around, he was out handing out leaflets to people and stuff. So he's getting involved, and I think he's enjoying it. And I hope this is one of the. You think he was 26 again, wouldn't you? Yes. He's really fantastic person. He's like helping people, and for people like that saying don't do it, and who've been through the mill like I have myself,
It's not that life of crime's not the way to go. I mean,
No.
you've got to get out there, you kids, and get a trade. You must have a trade because you've always got something to fall back on. If you're going to be good at fighting and be a professional boxer, be in the cage fighting or whatever, and do like Bram, my other friend who does the wrestling.
Make a living out of it.
Make a living out of it, yeah, and get stuck in at school. Education, one of the most important things as well. If you're educated, nobody can take the mickey out of you.
And can I just say how proud I am of you both for being positive, like how Brian changed his life around from being on drugs and being in a right mess and not being able to get out of it.
Oh,
but one day he's sort of changed to a positive thought, and he's helping people out. And the same with you, Brendan. You've done amazing from 6 months ago. You've changed your thoughts to a positive thought, and look how much you're helping people. So it's like a knock-on effect, isn't it? All
yeah,
around,
of course it is.
it?
But Lee's told me his story. He never told no one really, did you? When you spoke when he first come, because I've been in that situation and told him I was suicidal and that through the drugs. And the years the way out. I mean, if we can do it, me then we were lost causes. If somebody said to you 6 months ago, you'd have been sat in here doing a podcast, and they went, no way, I didn't even answer the phone before. You know what I mean? So the difference in your change, even I've noticed that since I met you the last few weeks, you've changed absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just changing that thought, isn't it?
Of course
that
it is.
Thought.
And surround yourself with positive people. I mean, if you're going to be taking drugs and you're going to stay with the same people, you're going to stay on the drugs. They're going to tempt you back on them. So get rid of the phone numbers of the drug dealers, change your number, hang around with good people, and you'll be positive. And another good thing, and all for depression, is training. I've got you into training as well, haven't I? So he's getting into training, he's looking better. And
box twice a week and then gym twice a week as well.
It just produces all them natural endorphins, and you feel great. You come out, you have a better high than any drug, isn't it? And Jesus is another one. You must get to the church. We're Christians, me and my wife, and we pray every day, and we feel better. I got baptised a few months ago, and the life's just a total different place. You know, I've got no stony heart, I've got no animosity towards anyone. I just want to help people. If I can help people, which I'm doing now, it feels better than any money you make. I'd rather help a kid save somebody's life than make £1 million. So that's what I like doing, same as you are.
Yeah, no, it's true. And the thing is, I mean, if you'd said to me 12 months ago that I would have been in this situation where I was having a breakdown and stuff, I would have laughed and said no chance. You know, this is for the weak-minded people. But until it happens to you, it's like a big kick in the balls. So.
And the amazing thing is they're doing as well is the knock-on effect it's having, because you weren't aware of that man in the garage when Brian went for a tyre the other day. That through your podcast for that few minutes you were talking, that had changed that kid's life. And he said you've basically saved my son's life.
Give us chills, didn't it?
We wouldn't have even known that if we hadn't even been that guy. So can you imagine how many more people he's like that?
What she's saying, like people we don't know who've changed their life. So it's fantastic. But when you get them stories, you give you goosebumps and think, well, we've done something good today, and you go to bed. I mean, you don't have to be Superman to do it. You can just get up every day and say to yourself, right, I'm going to make this day the best day I can for myself and for someone else. Just help them change a tyre, help somebody open the gate, help somebody with a bit of shopping, cross the road. Just everyone should be helping each other in this world, because there's too much selfishness, and everyone should love each other, because the thing in this world, there's not enough love. All this hatred, he's got a better car than me, his training's better than me, his watch is better. It's all immaterial rubbish.
That's it. I mean, it's like the kids growing up. The kids, half of the reason they're carrying these knives is for egotistical reasons.
That's right.
Wanting to have a reputation. What they don't. I use this analogy that you said a couple of weeks ago to me. It takes 2 seconds to stab someone, but you're living with that consequence for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
And it is 2 seconds of madness reflects the rest of your life. And it's not just your family's life that you're ruining. It's the victims' families, your own family. You're missing out on birthdays, kids being born, or nieces, nephews. You don't realise until you sat behind that cell the effects that you're actually having. So
the thing is as well with it is you've got to live with that as well. But when you're in your 20s, you think, I'm tough, I'm this, I'm that, and everything. And what happens when you get older, it starts coming back on you, and you regret it. I've let loads of people have been in for murder, and every single one of them regret it. And somebody said, if you kill someone, dig 2 graves, one for yourself and one for the person you've killed, because you ain't going to get over it, you know. So you're not just taking you're not just taking their life, you're destroying your own life. So all your family and all your members, you're not going to see them because you're in jail. So it's not worth it, just for that couple of seconds. So if you don't carry a knife, you won't stab someone.
That's it. It's not just that though. Even growing up, you do all this crazy stuff when you're a kid. And you don't realise that in your later lives, like 35, 40 odd, that it does come back and bite you on the arse. You know, you do grow a conscience at some point, and you do realise that what you've done is wrong. And it does affect you in some way, and you don't realise that at the time when you're doing all this crazy stuff. But
So, right, we're going to stop here and we're going to have part 2 just now. Okay, guys, thanks very much. Thanks for speaking to us.